Welcome to Cherry Blossom BL Story, where emotions bloom and stories unfold. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's chapter.
A broke fake shaman with a dangerous secret walks into the wrong casino and tries to scam the most feared heir in the city. One touch, one desperate lie. Now he needs Giyun's body to survive, and Giyun wants something much darker in return. The more they touch, the clearer he sees the murder. But the closer they get, the more dangerous it becomes to stop. Chapter 9, Final Showdown and Pleasure. Powered victory. The confrontation happened where it all began, the Kang family estate. Uncle Minseok had called another emergency meeting in the grand study, same mahogany desk, same crystal decanter that had once held poison, same heavy drapes that still smelled faintly of cigar smoke and betrayal. This time, the room held only 4 people. Minseok behind the desk, looking smug in his tailored vest, Park Ji-hoon leaning against a bookshelf, arms crossed, smirk in place, Giyun standing in the doorway, expression calm as still water, and Seung-jeong right beside him, hoodie zipped to his chin, hands shoved in pockets to hide the faint glow already flickering under his skin. Minseok didn't waste time on pleasantries. "You're late," he said to Giyun, "and you brought the entertainment." Seung-jeong bared his teeth in a smile that was all edges. "Entertainment's about to get real spiritual, uncle." Giyun stepped forward, voice low, lethal. "We have proof, full replay. Every second of the night you poisoned him. The wine, the vial in your pocket. The way you watched him die and then called Ji-hoon to celebrate." Minseok's smile froze. Ji-hoon straightened. "That's a bold accusation, and a delusional one." Seung-jeong pulled his hands from his pockets. The air around his fingers shimmered cold, electric. "I don't accuse," he said quietly. "I see." He closed his eyes. The room darkened, not lights dimming, but shadows thickening like ink. A translucent replay unfurled in the center of the study. Chairman Kang lifting the glass, Minseok pouring, the old man's hand trembling, clutching his chest, slumping. Dead eyes staring at nothing. Minseok lunged for the door. Ji-hoon went for the gun hidden under his jacket. Giyun moved first, tackling Ji-hoon to the floor in a brutal crash of furniture. Minseok made it 2 steps before Seung-jeong flicked his wrist. The heavy oak chair levitated, slammed into the door, barricading it. Minseok whirled. "You little." Seung-jeong's eyes snapped open, glowing faintly silver. "Protective spirits," he said almost cheerfully. "Ancestors, a little help." The temperature plummeted. 3 figures materialized, faint, flickering hanbok, clad elders. One immediately tried to grab Minseok's ankle, missed, tripped over its own ghostly feet and face, planted through the rug with a comical poof of ectoplasm. Another attempted to yank the gun from Ji-hoon's hand, succeeded only in making the weapon spin wildly across the floor like a possessed top. The third, Seung-jeong's great-grandmother, judging by the stern glare, hovered behind Minseok and smacked him upside the head with a spectral fan. Minseok yelped, "What the hell?" Giyun pinned Ji-hoon's arms, knee in his back. "Stay down." Ji-hoon bucked, managed to throw Giyun off, scrambling for the gun. Seung-jeong sprinted across the room, tackled Ji-hoon from behind in a messy, desperate hug. They rolled, Ji-hoon snarling, Seung-jeong clinging like a limpet. Giyun surged up, fist connecting with Minseok's jaw in a clean crack. Minseok staggered. Ji-hoon threw Seung-jeong off, lunged for Giyun with a knife pulled from his sleeve. Seung-jeong scrambled to his feet, adrenaline roaring, powers humming at full throttle, but not quite enough for a knockout blow. He needed more. He needed them. Seung-jeong launched himself at Giyun, wrapping arms and legs around him from behind like a koala, grinding shamelessly against his ass even as the fight raged. Quick grind, need the surge. Now, Giyun froze for half a second, then understood. He braced one hand against the desk, reached back with the other to grip Seung-jeong's hip, pulled him tighter. Seung-jeong rocked forward, desperate, filthy friction through layers of fabric, moaning loud enough to rattle the windows. Fuck yes there harder, the bond flared hot, bright, unbreakable. Power surged, the air crackled, great. Grandmother's spirit finally got her act together, swept in with a gust of wind that knocked the knife from Jihoon's hand and sent it skittering across the floor. The other two ancestors joined, forming a clumsy, swirling barrier of cold air and faint disapproval. Jihoon stumbled back. Min-seok tried to run again, tripped over the fallen chair, face planted spectacularly. Seung-jeong, still grinding against Gi-yoon's back, threw out both hands. A final burst, chains of pale light wrapped around both men, binding wrists, ankles, pinning them to the floor like spectral handcuffs. They struggled, cursing, thrashing, but the hold was unbreakable. Seung-jeong slumped against Gi-yoon's back, panting, triumphant, still half, hard from the desperate friction. Gi-yoon turned in his arms, cupped Seung-jeong's face with shaking hands. "You okay?" Seung-jeong grinned, wild, breathless, never better. Gi-yoon kissed him hard, fierce, tasting of victory and relief. Sirens wailed in the distance, closer now. Police arrived minutes later, tipped off by an anonymous call, Gi-yoon's doing, hours earlier. Min-seok and Jihoon were dragged out in cuffs. Min-seok still yelling about ghosts, Jihoon silent and seething. Gi-yoon stood in the doorway watching them go, shoulders finally relaxing for the first time in weeks. Seung-jeong leaned against him, exhausted, glowing faintly, smug as hell. "A justice," he whispered, "for your dad." Gi-yoon turned, pulled Seung-jeong close, kissed him again, slower this time, deeper. The adrenaline still thrummed between them, turning the kiss molten. Seung-jeong whimpered into Gi-yoon's mouth, hands sliding under his shirt, nails scraping skin. Gi-yoon groaned low, possessive backed him against the nearest wall. "And not here," Seung-jeong gasped half, laughing. "There are still ghosts watching." Great grandmother huffed somewhere in the ether. Gi-yoon smirked against Seung-jeong's throat. "Let them watch." He kissed him again, victory, sweet, heat, promising. The estate felt lighter now, the shadows shorter, and as police lights flashed through the windows, painting their faces in red and blue, Seung-jeong thought, "We did it. We really fucking did it." And the ancestors probably were finally proud, or at least mildly impressed. Chapter 10, Epilogue, Stable Powers and Endless Practice. 6 months later, the high-limit roulette table at the same underground casino where it all began glittered under low lights. Seung-jeong leaned against Gi-yoon's shoulder, chin propped on one hand, the other casually resting high on Gi-yoon's thigh under the tablecloth. "Red 19, Seung-jeong murmured, voice lazy and smug. The croupier spun the wheel, the ball dropped. "Red 19. A small cheer went up from the handful of players still awake at 3 a.m. Chips slid across the felt in neat stacks. Seung-jeong turned his head, lips brushing Gi-yoon's ear. "Told you, easy money." Gi-yoon's hand covered Seung-jeong's on his thighs, squeezed once hard. "You're showing off." "Only for you." They cashed out quietly. No dramatic exits, no screaming ancestors, just two men walking out with a modest fortune and matching smirks. In the elevator to the penthouse suite they'd booked, for old time's sake, Seung-jeong backed Gi-yoon against the mirrored wall. "A celebratory maintenance?" he asked, already palming Gi-yoon through his slacks. Gi-yoon caught his wrist, kissed the inside of it. "You're insatiable." "Stable powers require regular calibration," Seung-jeong said solemnly. "Doctor's orders, ancestors' orders, my orders." Gi-yoon laughed, low, fond, the sound Seung-jeong had learned to chase like oxygen. The suite door barely clicked shut before clothes hit the floor. Seung-jeong ended up on his back across the king-sized bed, legs hooked over Gi-yoon's shoulders, Gi-yoon sliding in slow and deep. "A fuck still feels like the first time," Seung-jeong gasped, nails dragging down Gi-yoon's back. Gi-yoon rolled his hips, deliberate, teasing. "You say that every time." "Because it's true out there, right there." They moved together like they'd memorized every inch of each other. No rush. No desperation, just heat, laughter, whispered nonsense. When Seung-jeong came shuddering, clenching, crying out, Gi-yoon followed seconds later, burying his face in Seung-jeong's neck with a muffled groan. Seung-jeong waited exactly 3 seconds before cracking one eye open. Did it work? Gi-yoon lifted his head, sweat, damp hair falling into his eyes, and deadpanned, "You're ridiculous." Seung-jeong grinned, wide and shameless, "And you love it." Gi-yoon kissed him, slow, lingering, tasting like forever. "Yeah," he murmured, "I really do." 2 years later, the apartment wasn't huge high ceilings, big windows overlooking the Han River, enough space for Seung-jeong's growing collection of weird shaman trinkets and Gi-yoon's minimalist furniture. They'd bought it together, signed papers side by side. Seung-jeong had cried dramatically. Gi-yoon had pretended not to notice badly. Saturday mornings usually looked like this. Seung-jeong in nothing but Gi-yoon's discarded button-down, perched on the kitchen counter, eating cereal straight from the box. Gi-yoon making coffee shirtless, hair still asleep, looking unfairly good at 9 a.m. Seung-jeong kicked his legs. "We should go to the casino tonight, for fun, not for survival, just because we can." Gi-yoon handed him a mug, black, no sugar, exactly how Seung-jeong liked it now. "You just want an excuse to drag me into a bathroom stall again." Seung-jeong gasped, mock offended. "Excuse you, I have class. I wait until we get to the hotel room at least half the time." Gi-yoon stepped between his knees, hands sliding up Seung-jeong's bare thighs under the shirt. "Half the time," he echoed, amused. Seung-jeong set the cereal box aside, looped arms around Gi-yoon's neck. "Maintenance is important. Doctor's orders." Gi-yoon kissed the corner of his mouth. "Ancestors' orders." "My orders," Seung-jeong finished, grinning into the next kiss. They ended up back in bed, lazy, laughing, tangled. Seung-jeong riding slow and sweet, Gi-yoon's hands on his hips guiding the rhythm. When they finished, sweaty, sated, still connected, Seung-jeong flopped forward onto Gi-yoon's chest. "Did it work?" he asked, voice muffled against skin. Gi-yoon carded fingers through his hair, gentle, indulgent, every time. 10 years later, the bedroom was bigger now. Sunlight poured through floor-to-ceiling windows. A small altar in the corner held incense, a framed photo of Chairman Kang, and a single flickering candle that never quite went out. Seung-jeong, older, softer around the edges, laugh lines etched deep, lay sprawled across Gi-yoon's chest, both of them naked under a thin sheet. They'd just finished a morning maintenance. Seung-jeong still had that post-orgasm glow. Gi-yoon still looked at him like he was the only thing worth seeing. Seung-jeong traced lazy circles on Gi-yoon's sternum. "Remember when I chased you down the street screaming about orgasms?" Gi-yoon huffed a laugh, vividly. "Best decision I ever made." Gi-yoon caught his hand, kissed the knuckles. "Mine too." Seung-jeong lifted his head, eyes bright, mischievous, still so ridiculously in love. "Did it work?" he asked, soft this time. Not a joke, not really. Gi-yoon pulled him down, kissed him slow and deep, like they had all the time in the world, because they did. "Every damn day," Gi-yoon whispered against his lips. Seung-jeong smiled, bright, chaotic, perfect. The ancestors probably agreed. Somewhere in the ether, great-grandmother rolled her eyes fondly, but she smiled too. Fade to black on laughter, tangled limbs, shared breath, and the quiet certainty that whatever came next, casino wins, minor hauntings, ridiculous arguments over cereal brands, they'd face it together, still chaotic, still ridiculously compatible, still endlessly, shamelessly happy.
That's all for today on Cherry Blossom BL Story. Thank you for watching. What do you think about this chapter? Did you like it, or do you think something unexpected is coming? Comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more stories.